Hi, everybody. This is day 1166 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. Happy Sunday. Hope you had a great day. Um, I'm going to do a little bit of a review because we know that this past week was pivotal, pivotal, pivotal. Thank you. And also, um, just jaw dropping. And I want to remind everyone that might have not had a chance to see the live streams or the TikToks or the posts on Facebook, talk a little bit about what happened this week. And I was trying to put it all together because there was so much. Um, so, what I can put together. Um, of course, the 2004 Pontiac, Montana, um, absolutely, uh, license plate CH. We know who it belongs to. We have located it, and it's so that's huge news. Huge news. Um, that minivan. Let's see if I'm on Facebook before I get into everything. See if I'm on there. It looks like I'm live. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Anicia, for your prayers, for your love for Richard and Justice. So, we are also looking at several other vehicles in this. Um, and it's getting interesting because, you know, during this whole time, when we would have a lead, we would give it, of course, we would give it to CID and we would give it to those that said they wanted to help, that they have access there on Fort Bliss and in El Paso, and they just wanted information. And I will tell you that not only was Richard betrayed, but there's double agents, y'all. There's double agents, and we know they're double agents because now they're out in the open because it looks like they have no choice. You know, they hear in the distance the knocks coming, and they see that we're getting institutional support right now, and that we have spent 3 years, day in and day out, collecting evidence, and we're starting to put all the pieces together. I mean, we've been doing that since the beginning, but the pieces are starting to be undeniable, and therefore we are forcing, I think, driving, right? Isn't that what Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe said? Is that they have to be driven to do their duty, to do the right thing. And so that's why you're going to see and have been seeing more institutional support. And of course, Attorney General Paxton is a big player in this. That he was um, exonerated, that he was acquitted, is a very, very big deal in the case of Richard. So that's why one of the things that happened this last week was getting a registered letter from Bill Hicks's office. So we'll be responding to that this next week, and it's very strong responses because we have been given intel about the monies, and they have to confirm the monies, and so that's going to then confirm the intel that we have been getting from inside Fort Bliss, from inner circles, from resources. Uh, that needs to all be confirmed the monies, because the monies that are coming back are huge, millions and millions of dollars, and including, I'll just tell you real quick, some money, $175,000 for Sarasota Sheriff's Office. Um, you know, that is that's interesting. So we'll be. I'm gonna get my pen just ran out of ink, so I had to get a new one. So absolutely, we there's so many, and we have to do open records request, and open records request again and again. And it's like we've been waiting for the CPS for uh, way over 2 years, and so we haven't received that information. But now we have a bigger chance that they'll be driven to give us all the information. Will it be redacted? I don't know. I don't know. So we'll see. It just looks like the the rolling of institutional support, once it starts, it's like a big snowball. And with that and the evidence collected, then you get the accountability. So that is our very transparent hope that that's what will happen. So Bill Hicks is there. Don't forget, we have been communicating with Samoa, not American Samoa, but the previous Western Samoa. They just call themselves Samoa now, and they have agreed to also give us institutional support. Um, then I think the huge news was that I mean, there's these are all huge news. This is all huge, right? Because absolutely, because Leilani Hart has admitted that she has concerns about her immigration status. Okay, that's really strange for us. So we want to know if that is connected with more convicted crimes, uh, because she has this long laundry list of a criminal history, right? Okay, and we also received that Leilani Hart was arrested in November, I believe November 5th, 2017, for assault of many people at the church there on Fort Bliss. That is huge too. So even on Fort Bliss, she has a record, and there's more to that, right? There's more to that, and it being multiple people is also a very big deal. So we're looking into that even more, because if it's one time, she's out of control. Uh, the people that we spoke with from Hawaii, I mean, this was an ongoing thing. So if she has one, she probably has another. And that's what we're looking into, because Hawaii, there were multitude. So it was just one problem after the other with the harassment, and even with her family putting in a domestic charge against her. So yeah, this pattern of misconduct is very evident. If you've been paying attention, you understand why I had to laugh at that. They always project. Richard, we received information today, has no criminal record at all. He wasn't even designated a deserter. And so we received um, institutional support from the federal criminal database. Those that run that informed us that Richard was never ever a deserter. He has no record at all, zero. zippo, nothing. The patterns of misconduct, the patterns of criminality are coming from Leilani Hart and more and more. So, they just project and then they want to smear the whistleblower. They want to smear the distinguished undergraduate. They want to smear um, the CID intern. They want to smear the person that doesn't participate in the Vanity Fair. And if you have read, or you can even watch Pilgrim's Progress, I think it's on free on Amazon Prime. Uh, you will understand what I'm talking about. That going through Vanity Fair, you are charged um, and convicted and put to death for not participating with the crimes of Vanity Fair. And, that was just, um, and how can I talk about this? This was something I had a little discussion on, being bold, speaking about Richard's case when it's talking about his dismemberment, when it's talking about the very uh, continuous, severe retaliation against him, the murder against him, the code red, the betrayal against him. How can I talk about it and stay calm and everything? And I think it's the first year, and I think I have proof on my live streams. It's just you're just crying all the time. You're just crying all the time. Um, I think that's why historically people had to take a year out to grieve. It takes so long. Uh, but, and I'm not saying I'm not grieving now. The thing that we have learned in Team Find Richard Halliday is that if you let your emotions um, get the better of you, or you just let your emotions take over, then you cannot focus on getting the evidence. You cannot focus on getting justice for Richard and changing the narrative of the false narrative that was put out. The true narrative, and we received it from the Department of State this week, was that there was a code red, that Richard was a whistleblower and they didn't want him to blow the whistle, so they pulled a code red. The code red escalated, and they decided to go ahead and murder him because weighed the risk, and they thought with him that the risk was minimum as far as getting caught, and so they murdered him. And that some of his remains were found, remains of Richard were found in Mexico. And so, was he in uniform? We've been told that he was in uniform. We've been told that he was alive when he was over there, and that he was killed being over there. Um, but that's not what the Department of State told us. They told us that Richard was code redded, and it escalated, and they agreed this was a discussed, planned killing, murder, and that they thought, okay, yeah, they can get away with it. Now, is he 100% right in what he's saying? Different witnesses see things differently. I was almost thinking that the cover up, absolutely, they planned it. I know it. I saw it. I've lived it. I'm living it right now. This is absolutely a planned cover up of the foul play. 100%. There's not a doubt in my mind that they covered this crime up the best they could. Now, the best they could was not good enough. They were very sloppy. And so we have these cars, and I want to address that because that was asked to me. And we have the VIN numbers. We worked very hard getting the identification and the VIN numbers and that. And so that is there. That's part of the evidence that we have. And we have to revisit so much of our evidence because how things have changed. But the big news is that we've been told institutionally that Richard has no criminal record at all, and that the State Department confirmed that Richard was retaliated against continuously and swiftly because he was a whistleblower, and that it was a code red, and that the code red was escalated, discussed beforehand, and a decision was made to go ahead and and murder him. That is what we were told. Um, the next one is Bill Hicks's letter. Bill Hicks's letter coming right on the same day as the Department of State information is God's timing is amazing. And so we have a lot to write him this week. And now the communication doors are open. He has acknowledged us, which is a very, very good thing. And he cannot not acknowledge us. That is what that means. Because they have done their best, like Veronica Escobar. Veronica Escobar only acknowledged us when it suited her. Okay? And now, with the petition, and this is another thing I should say, I think we have 222 signatures. I would really love to get to 500. So let's, try to campaign to get signatures for this soldier. And really, what the petition does is just back up and give support to this active duty soldier that has every right in the world to ask for a congressional inquiry if and when, and even it doesn't even have to be, but he did try to go through his chain of command. And so that is, and we do not know who he is, so we just want to support him. So it really is a petition that everyone can get behind, is just to support a soldier, a volunteer soldier at Fort Bliss, to have the right to a congressional inquiry. And be protected, because that makes him a whistleblower. And we know what's happening to our whistleblowers, so that's why that's been so important to us. Back to Veronica Escobar. She is being driven to answer this soldier's congressional inquiry. She has to. Okay? It holds a heavier weight than if I would do a congressional inquiry, or if any just civilian would do a congressional inquiry. Because we can, if we're not happy with our circumstances, just walk away. But that's not the case with soldiers. So she has a legal duty to move this congressional inquiry ahead. And we received word that that's what was happening. I hope so. I don't know. But, I don't know how Veronica Escobar is going to explain this to her constituents. I guess maybe she could just cover it up so no one will know about it. But I'm going to try to campaign and say, hey, she needs to support our troops, right? And so that would be a great thing for you to help me with, is to say Veronica Escobar needs to help support the troops. If they're not getting JAG responses back like they should give back, then there's a real problem there. And of course, Richard's case. So the Federal Criminal Database, yes. The Department of State, yes. The Bill Hicks, yes. The Samoa, yes. Leilani Hart having been arrested on Fort Bliss, November 5th, 2019, yes. And then I have the communications with Interpol. We had communications with Interpol. I mean, this is huge breaking news every day, right? And the Interpol now uh, is absolutely aware that the picture that was given to them has been tampered with, and that Dallas Hart is a key suspect in the foul play of Richard. So, absolutely. Do I want to say murder? I could. I could, because that's exactly what happened. And yeah, this is the allegation that's against him, and that Interpol is totally aware of it. So that's a real blessing. The other thing, and I'm thinking there's more to this week, but the other big news is Danae Katzen. Danae Katzen's role, we thought at the beginning that she was just some El Pasoan that went out with a soldier and saw Richard's credit card and the possession of this soldier. That, and had some information, right? That is what we were led to believe, but that's not the case, because in with this CID, with this group of CID, with Thomas Kane, with Ann Ogle, with Marlon Soto, with Ron Stieg, with Tavita Nusa, with Jay Paulin, um, and others I'm not at liberty to say quite yet, but I will. Um, you know, uh, there we need clarity if uh, the the Roches, the Ortega Roches, were employees in these private businesses or on Fort Bliss amongst this group too, because that would explain the whole Boleyn thing. But also the connection of Danae. And Danae is absolutely, we know she is connected to Leilani Hart, and we thought she was connected to Leilani Hart um, through the LDS Church. But it's more. It's more than that. And we would like clarity on that. How she's affiliated with CID. How she would be affiliated with Leilani Hart. How Danae would be affiliated with Marlon Soto and Thomas Kane and Ann Ogle and um, Jay Paulin. How Boleyn is, you know, connected. This is this is big. Tavita Nusa, did I say Tavita Nusa, who lost his badge? And let's just put in Dallas Hart's name. How they're connected with Dallas Hart. So that is huge, because we do have information um, connecting those dots. And so we want clarity on that to make sure that our information, because that changes everything. But if you think back to when Danae came in, and that KTSM was very willing to spend hours with us to air this, which is very interesting. Um, yeah. And that the CID never got back to Danae Katzen with all of this information that she had. They never contacted her, and we had to I don't want to say, we had to nag them into bringing her in. It took them a month to bring her in, to question her. And I don't know if all of you remember that. And that's wow. We were given a story and a half, and we did believe Danae because you know 3 years ago, um, I would say, uh, in regards to Richard's case, I was a much different person. Um, I had no thoughts, and I think that this is how they get us. I couldn't even have imagined how evil the CID is at that time. I thought Marlon Soto was just stupid, but that wasn't the case at all. It was evil. It was evil. And, so not bringing Danae, or not really looking for Richard, not following the leads, telling us to bring them the leads, and then not doing anything about it when we did bring them the leads, uh, asking about the FBI man, and them like, oh, he's nobody, he's just nobody, he's just some guy off the street just watching your live streams, and then never ever thinking that we would find out who he actually was and call him up and find out that he is Nadal Baim with a record. Um, he was very forthcoming to us, though. He admitted to everything, and uh, told us that a lieutenant colonel. The second time we talked to him, he didn't. He kind of retracted, but he told us the lieutenant colonel told him that's where he got the information. So we started looking, and lo and behold, uh, his son-in-law is Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado of the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, which is Richard's um, operations, right? Where the op boards are supposed to be made for every operation except for Task Force Fine Richard Halliday. Um, and that's another indication, too, at the task force meeting. The leaks coming out and the carelessness of everybody there. I mean, this is $1 million operation, okay? We're talking about 15 plus agencies that are highly funded by us, and they are to work for us. And they were sitting at the task force, find Richard Halliday, working for, they were not for Richard, not for us, meaning the American people, not for the secure securing the Constitution. It was very clear, and to look back now, how they handled Danae, and then let's talk about the PI that we were given the name from someone that just called a military guy taking advantage of our love for the military and saying Hardy Hay. His name was Hardy Hay, Sergeant Major Hardy Hay, I believe. I think that's his rank, but his name is Hardy Hay. And with TRADOC calling us and saying, hey, I know the PI you need to go to. He will help you. And we receiving funding for that, um, partial funding, partial funding, and talking to him. Remember going to JJ Arms? JJ Arms agreed, and then he pulled back too. Who called him, right? So going to this PI, um, because of starting fundraising and getting partial funding for PI, we called him up and he did take us right away, right? Um, and who did he interview? We had a list. He didn't really want the list. He just wanted the top 5. So we gave him a top 5 and we left him alone. We respected him totally. And he got there and he spent more time with the CID. And then he spent time with Belen and he spent time with Danae. The two people that we believe have close affiliations with CID is who he spoke to. Because there's a lot of other people too. But he spoke only to 2. And those interviews are very interesting. And we declared that who is he working for? The CID? Because that's exactly how he conducted himself. And so that is another circumstantial evidence. Or, I looked up, my husband and I, we decided, okay, let's do some searching. Does the CID, who do they hire? And do they hire outside agents? And they do. So he might have got double paid. It will be very interesting. I think that he needs to be audited. I think, did he get double paid? Is he, do they get protection, immunity protection because they're like part of the FBI or something? Because if you're an FBI informant, you're allowed to commit a crime. And I think that that's scary because we have so many FBI informants. So that's growing a criminal class right there. And we have our suspicions and our allegations, definitely, in the case of our son. So let's see if did I forget anything else about this week? That was a huge, huge week. And for Danae to have an affiliation, and I'm sure that I'm missing other points that really point to her being part of the CID, affiliated with the CID. This friendship with Lalani, this connection with Belen, this connection with that whole group of people is huge, So, and there's more too. So, any questions? Let me see. Praying. Thank you so much. I know we wrote lots of letters this week, but that's really a good foundation for preparation for this next week, because it's going to be busy with the cars. And it's interesting that Team Farm Richard Halliday brought up the cars, because the cars are in big time play now, especially the 2004 Pontiac Montana. But there's others too. And so I hope to be able to tell you about that this week, and all of the other behind the scenes, because as soon as I can, I let everyone know. And that's even knowing that there are people out there that are trying to work against us discovering what happened to Richard, about the arms room, about the tactical move storage unit, about then going to Van Buren. Then, oh, I can show you another. Yeah, I had this up and I wanted to show you this area here with we were given a coordinate. Yeah, let's see. Um, so this has always been an area. This is for people that this has always been an area of interest for us as this big airfield and this area here. Now, there seems to be like training areas in here. And we know that they have the mock Afghanistan village and that in this area. So, so this is a very interesting coordinate that we received, and that's something we'll be looking into too. That happened this week too. Um, so we're working lots of fronts, and I think that that's really uh, important. And it's important for us to release this information to let those that know things understand that the time is right. The time is way past due, way past due. They need to come out and they need to say what they know because it everything's crumbling as far as the cover up goes. The cover up is crumbling, and lies cannot be sustained. And I've said that so many times, and it is really a marvelous thing because it's so true. You cannot sustain lies. And so, if you're working hard to get to the truth, if you're knocking, if you're seeking, if you're, you keep going because you want the truth, then the lies crumble. And that's exactly what's happening. So, we're hoping that there are people out there that have information that have been intimidated because we've been intimidated. And Team Farm Richard Halliday has been intimidated, and they've been even bullied. They've been even harassed. So I know even my mom has been harassed, which is, unconscionable for these people. And this, I tell you, it's crazy. So we're hoping that those that have been bullied, we're absolutely, our intention is to find Richard, to get justice for Richard, to get Richard's remains, to get peace. That is definitely our intention. But we are hoping that with doing that, there is a positive effect with all service members. And to be honest with you, they are searching to have some mission for Fort Bliss. They're searching. And what that tells me is that we have a lot of service members with too much time on their hands, with no mission. And that is such a bad thing. That's a very, very dangerous thing. And so we just have to keep exposing, and hopefully that will have positive effects on our service members there at Fort Bliss. So thank you, everyone, so much. And we will be back tomorrow, God willing. Okay.